Hello everyone, as you can see this is an engine update and info I learned on certain locomotives a bunch of you have that you may not know about that I only just found out about, as well as an update on a locomotive because of an upgrade I got on it after a bit of research, which now that I know how it looks and all that's probably going to be done to other locomotives. Well, first of all is the new engine. Bachmann Plus 4454 War Baby, and I have a question with this for everybody as I'm debating, because everybody knows I have this Lionel one, which is also 4454. These shells are interchangeable, but the gear on the axle for this one is destroyed. So I want to know what everybody thinks would be better for this locomotive. I have the extra tender for the Lionel one. It's just tucked away at the moment. But I can either make another full daylight to go with 4449, or I can keep it as is and add another War Baby for 4464. Now then, the upgrade, which you will see as soon as I put power to the rails. So you see it better because my controller is at one end of the track and I'm at the other. I forgot how much momentum has been put into this locomotive. Well, there it is. Classification light. Now work on this, as well as my friend who did the classification lights for me also replaced that green LED with a white one, so it's more realistic. And here's the one for people I don't know how to activate it yet. I will learn because I have 3 other locomotives right now that have this feature. Well, the headlights are on these Bachmanns. On the tenders, you should have, I don't know if it shows up very well, but there should be a red light, very dim, in the rear light, and when you change direction, it turns on to the headlight. Apparently it's a 2-color LED in the tenders of the Bachmann. And if you tear out the board from the tender to put in your new decoders, you lose this feature. Luckily, when I put this Tsunami decoder into this daylight, I left the board and just plugged the Tsunami decoder into the board. So this engine, the Bachmann Spectrum J-Class, should have that feature. For those of you that have the Santa Fe 484, it has the feature. I just don't know how to turn it on yet. And this War Baby has the feature, which I still don't know how to turn it on yet. But I will in due time. I like that. I've been watching all the videos with the real daylight and those really light up, so I wanted, instead of having to go buy a new one where they turn on, why not just, I have a friend that knows how to do that stuff like that. He wired in 2 lights, set them very nicely for me, and they're in the proper holster. I don't think you can see that very well. Besides that, nothing really else is new. Besides that, I'm doing quite a few trades with a club member. I am now down all of my BNSF locomotives. I only had 2 and they've both been traded. One got me this Kato, which is going to be used for special purposes. The only reason I took it. And my Athearn Jeep 38-2, which I picked up new for about $30 at the train store near me, went to the club member who traded me this one for it. Neither have DCC, but this one will have DCC as soon as I pick which shell goes on. Because when I take the shell off to swap them, which is 2 screws, I'll get the DCC put in. And So the reason I'm contemplating is because I also have the PAs in this color, but then with that I have the Train Master here in the black paint. So this, I could always make it so I just keep swapping it over, but if I choose this one I lose my auxiliary tender for this one, because its auxiliary tender is this one's tender for the moment. But the War Baby will get an auxiliary. If I choose to keep this as is, the Daylight keeps its auxiliary. The only difference exterior on these two locomotives is the classification lights are on this one. This one, when the club member or my friend got it, they weren't on it. They weren't in the box, so they're not on it, but they could be easily made and all that. But if I want another engine with the classification lights, I either have to go to the War Baby tucked in there, or I have to put it into this Daylight. But considering 4454 is no longer in production by Bachmann, and just a heads up, I looked through the Bachmann catalog today, and I found out for all of you that have 4464 like I do sitting there, you count yourself fortunate. Bachmann has no longer, or has stopped production of 4464. It is now, I believe, if I remember correctly, 4459 is the only War Baby you can get from Bachmann right now. But you can still get the Freedom 4449, the Daylight 4449, and Daylight 4446 from Bachmann. But you can no longer get War Baby 4464, or so their catalogs say, because it's the new 2010 catalog, which I saw today. Yeah, I know, last month of the year, and I finally looked through it. 4464 is not in it under the War Baby. It's only 4459, if I remember correctly. Correct me if you want. If I'm wrong on that, it doesn't matter. But and yes, when it went in for its lights, it got tweaked to the volumes lower and all that, so it's going to be upgraded as soon, next week. It's going to be all tweaked back up to how it was, so it's nice and loud. Just redo it. The gentleman that's helping me with it is doing it bit by bit. And plus, this is the first one he's done like this with the lights and all that, so we're learning by doing. So that's why when I turned the power on before the headlight turned on, they turned on. As soon as it's on live track, those lights are on, whether the sound is on, whether the headlights are on or anything. Those classification lights are on. I can't, at the moment I can't turn them on and off, except by turning the power on and off. Anyways, well, that's all for now. And I'll see what everybody has to say between these two. I'm sort of leaning for the Daylight, because then I can use the PAs as backup power, like auxiliary power. I can have one of the, I can have the A. Well, I can't really split them up, because if I do, I lose the sound. Oh well. I can have them helping out on the trains, and plus I can then get a third Daylight train. But I'm after 484, so this was a very welcome addition to my 484 collection. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your day or night, or how about enjoy the rest of your week till